trouble, double the fun. At African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio, see the largest antelope on Earth, the giant eland, and the ugliest creature on Earth, the African warthog. There's so much to see and do, including the Midwest's only drive-through safari. Feed the animals. See live educational shows. Feel the excitement. Have your picture taken with a python or cockatoo. Feel the adventure. Shop the Symbol Lodge gift shop with items available from around the globe. Visit the snack bar or picnic facilities. Enjoy a pony or camel ride. Or cheer your favorite porker on to victory in the famous Pork Chop Down. Bring your family to see the rare and exotic animals at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. Just take Route 2 to the Route 53 North exit and follow the sign. Only 17 miles west of Cedar Point via Route 6. Open every day, rain or shine.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming and I'm loud. Roar.
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
Here's to the straggly ones. The first ones. Hey, I look good with this ones. The black, brown, red, and gray ones. The itchy ones. The ones grown by Dad. The ones grown for Dad. The I nearly didn't do it this year ones. And the absolutely filthy ones. They all raise awareness, raise funds, start conversations, and save lives. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Sign up now at Movember.com.
All right, welcome back to the Balance. 1 hour in the can. Thank you very much to Kyle Courtney, Super Steelers fan, joining us on breaking us down that big game between the Colts and the Steelers. Very disruptive defense for the Colts, and the Colts are a very disruptive offense. So we'll see what happens with Jacoby Brissett and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer down there in Pittsburgh. Also, Matthew Embury sent us a soundbite. Breaking news, certainly big news with James Hinchcliffe not having a ride as well as Wickens with this deal with McLaren. So we got some information about that. We certainly think that Hinch will find a ride here soon. And then also Steve Wilson, Speedway Digest, joined us to talk about NASCAR in Texas. Joining us now, Rick Riggin, our official college football contributor, and Tony Donahue from the Tony D podcast. How you doing, Rick? You with us?
I'm with you, man. Good morning, guys.
Ready to rock and roll. Tony Donahue, welcome back to the Balance. How are you doing, sir?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Good. Did you guys go trick-or-treating? Come on now. Rick, I know you got kids, but they're all big kids. Tony, you don't have kids. I don't have kids, but man, it's good to eat the candy, though, anyway. Hey, Tony, I want to get your thoughts on this real quick because this is kind of breaking over the last couple of days. You heard me talk about it coming out of the break. James Hinchcliffe and Wickens find some way without a ride. I know that Schmidt Motorsports and Arrow are paying out their contract until they're able to negotiate something else with somebody else. But with this deal with McLaren, I mean, it's all about money. That's what it all comes down to. But class act, friend of the show, loved James. I know you and I both know him and have had a chance to talk with him multiple times down there at the track. What are your thoughts about this story, breaking news or funny story with funny season with James Hinchcliffe not having a ride?
yeah, it's one of those things where, like you said, it's money, and you've got a chance to put two up-and-coming young drivers that work their way up through the ladder system that have money. And the thing with James Hinchcliffe is, like, look, the results just really and, the way to secure a ride and to make sure that, you have a job is to win races. And he simply has underachieved at Aero and with Sam Schmidt, but he's a great driver, and the sport needs him. So I think you'll still see him in a car next year in some capacity, probably 3-4 races with some kind of Honda backing. But I do expect him to at least be attempting to qualify for the Indianapolis 500 next year.
Yeah, and we talked. Matthew talked a little bit about Graham Rahal, Dale Coyne. I talked about that. I also thought maybe Ed Carpenter, but he also opened up the door that possibly Honda been wanting to get into NASCAR. This might be a good opportunity for that. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this college football segment. But I know that you cover racing as well. Rick Riggin, first of all, homer card with me. IU bowl eligible. It's not the Rose Bowl, but hey. It might be the Tulip Bowl. It might be the Chick-fil-A Bowl. I don't know, but it's a bowl game. First of all, what are your thoughts on that, Rick?
I love it, actually. And I'm a big Notre Dame fan. I got to just troll them a little bit, talking about how IU is actually bowl eligible before Notre Dame is this year. So kind of funny. I know IU's played an extra game, but it's also the truth, man. So I'm happy for IU, and I hope they keep the winning going.
Well, I do too. Tony, the Wisconsin Badgers, we don't need no stinking Badgers. They are just falling. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you look at a team that they had that tough loss, which, is always tough to play. But, they're going to get a week off, and we'll see what they can do next week. They're still 18th. They're going to get a big matchup next week with Iowa. Which, that bye week probably came at the right time for Wisconsin. 6-2 on the year. They don't win pretty. It's always ugly. And after getting smoked last week to Ohio State and then that loss to Illinois, that they hit the bye week perfectly, they're gonna have a chance to win some games with Nebraska and Purdue coming up on the schedule. But tough ones coming up with Iowa and Minnesota. That's gonna make or break the Badger season.
Rick, I want to stir my favorite pot that I love to – go ahead, Rick. Did you have something to say on that?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say something. I'm sorry. My ears are playing tricks on me.
I'm on my cell phone today and not my headset because I'm actually out of town.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so I'm going to open up the stir the pot that I always do with the strength of schedule. The top 5 teams are 8-0. 2 of those teams are Big Ten teams. Then you have a Big Ten team that's 8-0 that's all the way down to 13, and that's Minnesota. So your top teams, LSU, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Penn State, all 8-0. 2 of those are Big Ten teams, which strength of schedule is very similar, but yet Minnesota is ranked 13. What say you?
Yeah, but it comes down to who's Minnesota's win so far in the Big Ten, because Big Ten's really, I don't think that's strong this year, because now we're seeing teams like Wisconsin fall off. Maryland earlier in the year looked like they just couldn't be stopped, and now they're falling off. It's really comes down to Penn State and Ohio State. I know Michigan last week, they killed us. I get that, but I don't see Michigan as a strong contender now. So it's really just 2 teams when you look at a team like the SEC, and it's really like 4 or 5 teams that are really strong. So I'm all for P.J. Fleck in Minnesota. I think they will keep the winning going, and they'll actually get into the top 10. It'd be crazy to have 3 top 10 teams. But it's just who have they beaten so far?
Tony, what are your thoughts? I mean, I guess I'm a firm believer, and it seems like this is the only sport that we ever have a conversation about strength of schedule, because in the NFL, let's just use the Colts as an example. If the Colts have the better record and they win the division and they win the playoffs, that's just how it works. They go to the Super Bowl. It has nothing to do with who they play or who they didn't play. If they're number 1 in the AFC South, for example, and that's just simply because of wins and losses. Why do we have to make this so complicated? I know I beat this horse to death all the time, but we see 3 of the top 10. I mean, 2 of the top 4. I'm sorry, are Big Ten teams. but then you have an 8-0 team of Minnesota, which I look at Big Ten strength of schedule very similar, except for maybe Ohio State because they do play some stronger teams. But still, I would think that if we're just going by, we should always go by wins and losses. At best, Minnesota should be ranked 6th right now. That's just my thoughts. What are your thoughts, Tony?
I think that they're kind of overranked right now at 13th. Yeah, they're undefeated, but they haven't had an impressive win all year. They squeaked by a Georgia Southern team. They squeaked by Fresno. They squeaked by South Dakota State earlier in the year. They squeaked by Purdue. Their schedule's really going to pick up. They're going to get number 5 Penn State, and they're going to get number 19 Iowa. They're going to get number 18 Wisconsin. And I agree with Rick. You look at the Big Ten, and there's 6 teams ranked in the top 25, but outside of Ohio State and Penn State, everybody else is in that 2nd to 3rd tier. And the problem with the Big Ten right now is just the bottom is so bad. IU, middle of the road team, I would say, bowl eligible, great. Michigan State, not very impressive. Maryland, Rutgers, not very good. Purdue, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska. Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska, Northwestern, just okay to crappy teams. So I just don't think Minnesota's played the schedule that everybody else has. They haven't had any impressive wins. So I think right now they're a little overranked, and I think that's going to go down because they're going to get through the last 4 games against ranked opponents.
Tony, I'm going to get one more thing out of you because I know we only got you for a couple more minutes. I appreciate you jumping on with us this morning and giving your thoughts on things. But Georgia just seems to be another one of those teams that we walked in the season, they were ranked number 3, and they've just been falling down. Georgia has a problem this year.
It's going to be a tough game, in Jacksonville against number 6 Florida. It's going to be, I think, a defensive struggle. Who can establish the run game? I'm a Notre Dame and a Florida fan, so I'm going to be watching closely to both of those games. Georgia, I think, is on the outside looking into the playoffs because you've got, obviously, Alabama, LSU, and Florida in front of you. But Georgia does have the opportunity today to knock off Florida. Then they'll get Auburn and possibly position themselves to get into the championship game, depending what happens with what happens today. If Georgia wins today, they'll be in the SEC championship game. Then you kind of control your own destiny because you'll get a chance to play Alabama. You'll get a chance to play LSU. Now they're going to play Auburn, and that'd be huge. But again, when you look at the standings in the East of the SEC, it's going to come down to today's game. Whoever wins today's game is going to go to the SEC championship and have a chance to play Alabama or LSU.
So, Tony Donahue, the Tony D podcast, taking a few minutes to jump on board with us. Thank you for giving us your thoughts on James Hinchcliffe. We'll be following that story. Very important question. I got to know before I let you go, Tony. I need to know. We need to have more boobies in the World Series. Going forward, more boobies in the World Series.
Not even that could distract Garrett Cole, but it was cool to see the Nationals win. It was probably the best World Series I can remember watching. But yeah, we will never say no to that, right?
Yeah, that's right. All right, Tony, thank you so much for joining on. I appreciate you. I told you I'd keep you to 15 minutes. I'm a man of my word. Well, sometimes.
Hey, have a good one, Tony.
Appreciate it. Good to see you guys.
Follow him on Twitter, man. He's a good follow.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Tony Donahue, the Tony D podcast, joins us jumping on for 15 minutes or so. Rick Riggin, our college football contributor, joins us. Rick, did you see that Game 5? I think it was the 6th inning. Boobies.
Well, I wasn't watching the game, or I wasn't watching the game at that time, but I did just see every clip of it on, all over Twitter and everything. It's great. Baseball needs more of that. That'd be good. Because it happens in hockey too all the time, and you don't hear of hockey being like all up in arms about it. So I think baseball could take a page, out of hockey's book there, and just I mean, what can you do?
I mean, sports are sports. Sports are mostly men. Men like beer and boobies. I mean, it's